Hi, Professor Tabacino.
Tabacino. This is my sister, Annie. Okay, Annie, so we're here today, and I'm here to ask you, what do you think a social worker is?
That's a good question. I think the profession social work. Social work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is based around people. It's based around people. But specifically helping people in many different situations.
Yeah.
Like children, people, families.
Yeah, that's good. You got the basis of it. It's identifying different people and communities in need of help and kind of assessing their needs, situations, and strengths in order to best support them. Social workers help people cope with everyday life. So it works with vulnerable groups and vulnerable people, which one of them is children, which is the main one I think a lot of people think of, which is like the foster care system. And they're committing to improving individuals' lives. And with that comes different types of social work, in which some social workers work in policy. Because in order to help communities and groups of people, there need to be certain laws and rules in place in order to help them, which I'll get into in a minute. But so they just help adjust to difficult things in life. That could be divorce, unemployment, with unhoused or the homeless. We use the word unhoused because it's more respectful. And so there's different divisions, you could say, in social works. There's 3. There's micro, macro, and meso. So the micro level is one-on-one, so working with one-on-one with individuals. So example would be counseling or therapy. An example would be helping someone who's unhoused finding a home, or even someone in the military who has to cope with getting back into civilized society. That could be helping them. So that's just a few examples. And then there's macro, which is working with communities, like neighborhoods or politically driven groups. Like I said before, policy is a big part of social work. And so that's another big part of it, is shaping different policy. And then last, there's meso, which is working with groups of people. So that could be like a group therapist. A big one like you see on TVs and shows and movies is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. That's a little bit about as far as what social work looks like. Now within each of those 3 divisions is different roles of social work. So examples would be there's school social worker, medical social worker. You can work in management, education, policy, mental health counselor, which would be the micro level, clinical social worker, forensic social worker, family therapy, school counselor, hospice, and the list goes on. So it's not just limited to foster care. There's many different branches of social work, all within those 3 levels. Social work also has core values that we use throughout our fields, and we make sure that we stick to those in order to keep people or respect people. So there's 3 main ones that I like, one of which is the importance of human relationships, which she broke her stress ball, so it just exploded all over her hands, so that's why she's making that face. So it's strengthening relationships in order to help their well-being. So it's relationships. So working with someone, it's important that you let them know how much you value working with them and how much you value who they are as a person. And then that kind of ties into my next favorite one, which is dignity and worth of a person. So you have to be mindful of cultural background and ethnic diversity. You can't just be like, oh, I don't want to work with this person because they're African American or because they're in the LGBTQ plus community, or it's valuing who they are and that being enough, and not being judgy, putting your bias aside and valuing who they are. And another one is integrity and upholding that integrity. You can't go into situations disrespecting a person or not having your own integrity or saying one thing and then behind closed doors hating that person. And it's working with the humility and honesty that when things are hard or you do see those biases come up, you have the integrity to work through that for the people that you're working with. So that's just a little bit about social work and kind of what we do. It's very broad. There's a lot of different roles and a lot of different positions that social workers have, but in a nutshell version, that's kind of what we do. Does that give you like more clarification on what we do?
Yes, very much more.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. You explained it very clearly.
Oh, thanks. You heard that I explained it very clearly. Thanks. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for this interview.
I have stuff on.
Professor Tabachino, we're out. Stop. Where's the